So, over the last few months, we've been having some interesting discussion talking about the lore connections between Honkai Impact and Genshin Impact. However, I think it's time for us to reel back a bit and start looking more into the finer details and lore building of Teyvat itself. I mean, there's so much lore here, where do we even start? Oh, I got an idea. Let's talk about the mind game of all games. Let's talk about chess. How's it going, everyone? It's Daikin-san here, ready to bring you another Genshin Impact lore/theory video, a series where I break down and analyze various lore bits about the world of Teyvat to their real-world counterparts and conjure up potential theories for what may lie ahead in the future for Genshin Impact. Once again, this is a lore and theory video where I break down lore, so there will be potential spoilers. You have been warned. As always, if you do enjoy my content, then make sure to like this video and leave me a comment letting me know your theories, as I always like to hear from you all. Also, don't forget to subscribe and share this video around, as it greatly helps me out and get more people to see these types of videos. Now, let us begin, shall we? Now, you may be wondering what I meant by talking about a game of chess, but I think it's first necessary to talk about the Seven Archons. Archon is a Greek word for ruler, and these are the rulers of each of the major nations of Teyvat. Each Archon is associated with an element and poses a divine ideal unique to them that they represent. Only two of the original seven are still active, being Barbados aka Venti and Morax aka Zhongli. The rest of the original seven have been replaced over a time period of around 2,000 years. These original seven were the victors of the Archon War that ended around 2,000 years ago. Now, the lore of the Archon War and the ancient civilizations is another topic and future video itself. For now, just know that a war between Archons took place a very long time ago for power control over divine seats of Celestia to see their ideals on the prosperity of humans come to fruition. And the conclusion of this war led to the original seven. Now, these divine ideals that each Archon hold are as following: freedom for Mondstadt, contracts for Liyue, eternity for Inazuma, wisdom for Sumeru, justice for Fontaine, war for Nation, and very mysteriously, we have no records of the divine ideal or the Tsaritsa or Cryo Archon of Snezhnaya at the moment, as she is the one trying to gather all the Gnosis. Now, you may be wondering, what are the Gnosis? In my latest video explaining the Fatui, we said that the Gnosis make up a large part of an Archon's power, as it allows them to tap into the celestial energy and is proof of their status as an Archon. Now, what does chess have to do with any of this? Well, if you look more closely at the Gnosis, we have seen so far they look very similar to chess pieces. Zhongli's resemble a rook, and Venti's resembling the queen. I always knew there was a reason Venti was called best girl. Anyway, back to the topics at hand. This creates an interesting dynamic because of how many pieces outside of the pawns are on an actual chessboard. At first, I thought these pieces had something to do with the Archon themes, as Venti piece being the queen could be seen as the piece with the most freedom of movement, representing the freedom of Mondstadt. This still adds up when considering Zhongli as the rook is the only piece in the game of chess not representing a person but that of the castle that could be made out of stone, possibly symbolizing Geo as an element or the pillars that Zhongli uses. But this doesn't make a lot of sense, as in the game of chess, besides the pawns and outside of the one queen and king, there are two rooks, two knights, and two bishops. Now, with a little quick math for you all, that adds up to 6 pieces, and the queen and king will add that up to 8. But we only know of the 7 Archons. However, there has been talks about a god of time, which can be found within a side quest within the region of Mondstadt. Now, while we don't know if there's an 8th Gnosis, if there is one, maybe this could be the person who has it. Maybe this unknown god, or sustainer of heavenly principles as she calls herself, is the god of time herself, ruling over the final piece of this game. So, why does Tsaritsa want every Gnosis? Is she trying to throw the biggest chess tournament known to all of Teyvat? Or is this a twist on the in real life lore of Gnosticism, and this time the Archons want to fight back against this false sky and god? Whatever her plan may be, the two last of the original 7 don't seem to be too bothered by it. Venti didn't seem to care too much about his Gnosis being taken, and Zhongli gave his up willingly through a contract. Zhongli knows the plan of the Cryo Archon, but didn't let us players in on the secret of his final contract. So, whatever Tsaritsa's up to, these two seem to be fine with their plan so far. What's that? You didn't know Gnosticism was a real philosophical school of thought? Allow me to explain then, my dear viewers. Now, let's talk about Gnosticism as the lore around the Gnosis and how the world of Teyvat seems to be inspired from this real-life philosophical school of thought dating back centuries ago. Through various analytical summaries of this movement, Gnosticism is basically the belief of there being a false or creator god and there being a true god. This true god never created anything in the ordinary way we understand the world. This false god created images of his own flaw, unaware of his true origins, imagining himself to be the absolute god. This god is also referred to as the half-maker and resides over his minions known as the Archons. The very knowledge of the human nature is kept from us and the true god is unknown to the world. And this has led to the unknown or true god to be called the Unknown Father. Man, this game is packing more in real life references to school of thoughts and people than Amazon warehouses. Okay, let's break this down. So there's a true god and a false god. That is easy enough to understand. Now, for my Honkai Impact fans, we already know what the Honkai and Impact has to do with the story. However, what a lot of people are not questioning is, what the heck is a Genshin? Now, from the name alone, we may not get much, as this is one of those times where something is lost in translation and just there to keep a cool title. But if we go to the Chinese name of the game is not called Genshin. No, my friends, the game is called Yuaxing, translating to primordial spirit or original god. And this is where things start to get interesting, because while I don't know if we know who or what the false god is, we can see the similarities with Scaramouche talking about the false sky. He is learning about the false creation and the possibility of the nature of humanity that is kept secret, as stated in the real life lore of Gnosticism. And while we may not know who the false god is at this time, I think we all got a pretty good idea on who maybe the true god that is unknown to humanity possibly is. While in the original lore, they are called the Unknown Father, of course to us, they are known as the sustainer of heavenly principles, the Unknown God. And that's it for my Genshin Impact lore and theory video for now. As I stated before, there's plenty of lore to explore around the world of Teyvat without talking about the connections between Honkai Impact and Genshin Impact. So expect more lore and theory videos in the future of this nature. However, as more pieces of the puzzle start to unveil themselves, more theories of the connections will be sure to come as well. If you enjoy my content and want to keep up with all the lore and news related to Genshin, then don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you know when my videos go live. As always, my name is Daikin, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.